Go on, say anything. You can rub it all off, can't you?
Mike, I was just going to say, I was trying to figure out actually whether it was worth prefacing the whole lot with saying I'm now speaking to Mike Pinder. Now I've said it. Mike, nice to see you.
Well, it's great to be here, you know.
And
thanks for the interview.
Excellent show.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
It's really excellent. I'm going to ask you one question which I just asked Frank.
Yes.
What kind of answer is the impossible question, what kind of answer can you give to somebody who comes up to you after you've done a show like that and says, they're so fantastic, how come they're not having hit records?
Well, I suspect that I'm going to give the same answer as Frank, but I think once you've gone out to the public eye and you're not making appearances on television or radio, I think that's when the public forget you. And no matter how good the record is, if you release one in that time, it won't be a hit. I think the name goes against you, especially if DJs get hold of the record and play it. Or that's it, they don't play it, you see.
Yeah.
Because the name is against you. Once they see Searchers, they think, oh my God, you know, not the same old Searchers.
Not Needles and Pins again.
Yeah, that's what they think of, you know. But it's like you said, people do come up and say, that was really good, you know. Why aren't you having hit records? I just don't know. Obviously, we're desperate to have a hit record. I mean, the last solo thing we had out was Solitaire. I don't know if you heard it or not.
No, I haven't heard it. Frank was talking about it.
Yeah, it was a good song, and I think we done it fairly well. But the DJs did not pick it up. Only Luxembourg. But that is, of course, paid for by the recording company. So, I mean, you're bound to get that anyway. If the recording company are backing you up, you get that anyway. But on Radio 1 and places and such programs like that, you know, all the Radio 1 DJs and that, they would not play it. I think we got one or two plays on Radio 2, like Pete Murray and people like that, you know. Yeah, but they just would not play it, and I think will always be against it. I don't know what we're going to do about that, actually.
You've got this one tune in the can which is not good enough to put out as a single, like Lay Down Your Weary Chin.
Yeah.
Is that worth re-recording, as it's such a
Yes, it would
song?
be. It would be worth recording. Yeah, re-recording, I should say. Because that session was very rushed. I think we've got used to now going in the studio and just taking our time, and so as we get a good sound, not rushing it, because, you know, let's face it, groups and solo singers go in the studio now and they can take days, you know, weeks, just to get something perfectly right. I mean, it's not like in the early days we used to go in the first time we ever went to the studio, we got 1 hour to do Sweets for My Sweet, and it was a hit, #1. It's amazing, isn't it? You know, makes you think. 1960, no, 1963. Because Needles and Pins was 64.
Was that right?
Yeah. It was before 64, yeah. Certainly, yeah.
Even longer. I remember when it was sitting up there at the top of the charts.
Don't we all, yeah. But that was very disappointing, actually, getting back to Solitaire. Very disappointing. I really thought that would go, you know. And then Andy Williams comes along, as Frank's probably already told you, and has a hit with it, you know. Even the Carpenters had a hit with it.
Yes, quite.
And that was taken off their album. So what can you do?
Beautiful song.
Did you?
Talented writer.
Oh yeah, great.
I never
He's
actually
really good.
heard it. I didn't know you'd recorded it.
Oh yeah. Well, a lot of people are. Exactly. You see. Now that's hitting the nail right on the head. The DJs never got round to playing it, and I think that had we put this is my own opinion, of course. Had we put my name or even some other name on the record, I think maybe we would have got the players. I think they'd have realised, you know, something was happening. It was a bit different because they'd obviously think, well, it's going to be the same old Searchers sound, you know. I mean, DJs are all for playing records, but they're for playing new groups,
Yeah.
new names, new acts coming up. That's all they want. That's in my opinion.
Would it be worth considering for the future 3 of the group swallowing the pride and allowing a record to go out as, say, Mike Pinder, in small letters, with
very-
the Searchers?
Very touchy subject, actually. You know, I mean, I can understand it really. I mean, I wouldn't like any of the other boys to go out with their names on the record, you know, obviously. But I don't know. It could work out, I suppose. But we never got round to discussing it, you see.
Or is the answer going to be to do a Jerry Dorsey and become the new Engelbert Humperdinck?
I don't know.
Change?
I just don't know. We've got good songs available
Oh, I see, yeah.
to record. All we want is a good deal off the recording companies, but all we're getting at the moment is lots of material offered to us, but material that we don't want to do. You know, they want to put us in the studio, but they want to have to say what we record and what goes out, whereas we want it the other way around. If they give us the time, we'll give them a good finished record, but we just can't get a good deal at the moment. So there you go.
It's not worth going to an independent studio
At
your own expense.
It could be, but it means giving up a lot of working time. And I mean, we've all got families. We've got responsibilities now. It's not like when we first started. I mean, if I didn't have any family or responsibilities, I'd gladly take 6 months off and just go on a studio or into anywhere, and devote all that time to getting a good sound or making some good demo discs for people to listen to. But we just can't afford to do that now. I mean, I'm 34 now. I mean, well, people say I don't look it. I hope so, you know. I hope I don't, but we're not getting any younger. And getting back to your question, like you said, when we come off stage, people say, you know, that was great. Why aren't you in the charts? There's no answer to it, you know. Yeah. Just gotta wait and hope for this year whether it's going to be good or not, you know.
I know you're too fun because you take one solo song, you do Running Scared.
Yeah.
Fantastic song, gives a marvelous reaction.
Yeah, it always goes down well, that song. Yeah.
How did you pick that song above all others?
Well, we done a tour with Roy Orbison 7-8 years ago, and that song, it's got a lot of feeling in it, I think, and I think everyone, I won't say everyone in the audience, but you know, lots of people who are in audiences go through that kind of emotional thing. You know, the type of thing you turned around and walked away with me, you know. Not in so much as it happens every day to them, but sometime in their lives it may have happened, you know, girlfriends and things like that, you know. And I think they feel the emotion too. I think it builds up so much towards the end, that song, you know, to that very high-pitched note at the end. I think it creates a lot of feeling, and I think it's an ideal song for putting into the act near the end, you know, to change it around a bit, you know.
It's a great reaction.
Yeah, very good reaction.
Finally, do you have any involvement in other things outside the group?
At the moment, no. I did have an antique shop, but I found that I couldn't do the two things, you know. It was so time-consuming, as this business is as well, and I couldn't mix the two of them, so I just give it up, sold the shop. But I still like antiques. I deal in them, you know, from time to time, but I do it from home, really.
Yeah. If the whole world went pear-shaped,
yeah,
and the Searchers had to break up, what would you do? What would you like to do, shall we say?
What would I do? Well, obviously, I'd try and get something together, recording-wise. I mean, obviously, at the moment, I would never think of leaving the Searchers, because it's happened so many times in the past. Artists have left groups and they've just fizzled out and done nothing. I mean, I'm talking about talented artists as well, you know.
Yeah.
And I think once you leave a group, it's very, very hard to do it all over again. But that certainly I'd have a try. I mean, I've made friends in the business over the past 10 years, and you never know, you know. I mean, it could happen. Things happen every day, don't they, you know?
True. Well, we don't want things to go pear-shaped.
No, of course not. But I mean, there's lots of things I could maybe do, you know. And always antiques. Always antiques, yeah.
Well, here's hope that Searchers have continued success, and that very soon they'll have a hit record. And thanks very much for talking to us.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Sure. I hope you've enjoyed listening to my words of wisdom, everyone who's listening, and I wish you happiness and health in the new year. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.